And, I went all in on it. And, at the time I didn't have any other distractions. So I think that's, also important. For other guys, I could see that there was one dude, super capable guy, ended up quitting, because of family related issues. So it's like there's all these other things that are going on in people's lives. I was in my mid 20s, didn't have I could easily break away and go do that. Hey, I'm gonna go do this, and just see what comes of it. So I think I had that to my advantage as well. But I just knew, in my soul that that's what I wanted, and it was immediately, you do get that, with the friendships that you make in the course and the hard things that you do. Like I love telling this story is that, selection, you're always being assessed. It doesn't end at selection. And I remember they had this thing called CLT, and it basically is common leadership training, but they take like BNOC and my knowledge is super dated, but basically the NCO, the first couple NCO courses that you got to take, I think it's like Warriors Leaders course and Advanced Leaders course, and they mash it together. And it's 1 month of training, and you do that before small unit tactics, which is probably one of the most arduous phases of the qualification course, and which ends up getting a lot of X-rays because of the tactical expertise that you have to show, leadership potential and tactical expertise you have to demonstrate during that phase of training. But this CLT training was to prepare you for that. So it was like more like selection part two. And one of my favorite people there, the first sergeant, was Eli Monroe, and he was a third group guy, Southern gentleman, Southern draw. And the first day we show up there, we're doing the burpee mile with our equipment. So you're taking all your stuff, right, that you showed up to Camp McCall with, you're chucking it, and you're doing a burpee long jump to it. Then you're picking it up. Then you're chucking it again, doing another burpee long jump to it. And really, it's just, you just got to stick it out and not quit. Yeah. That's a lot of it, right? And I think of like, there was, they form us up and we're all tired and our stuff is trashed. And he looks at us, he's like, "Oh, you think this is over, gentlemen? We have a swamp ruck tonight." And at this point, we have a bunch of active duty guys with us now, guys that are out there in the regular army came in, some Ranger bat kids, stuff like that. And, the Ranger bat kids know what's up, but the regular army dudes are like, "Oh, they can't do that to us." And out of the x-rays, they're like, "Oh, they can and they will. They can and they will, my friend. Trust me." And so I go back, we're in these little trailers out back, and it's all assholes and elbows in there, right? Or on top of each other. And I set up my rucksack that night. I make it watertight. I could stuff everything in a wet weather bag, get it at 50 pounds. So I'm not going to have any trouble with them weighing my ruck. And no shit, midnight rolls around. Eli Monroe kicks in the back door of the trailer. "This is fucking happening. This is fucking happening." And he's like kicking guys' bunks, waking people up. And I just start laughing because of how terrible the situation is. And you just see that the look of despair on the people that were unprepared was priceless. And we went out, we did a swamp ruck that night. But before they did that, they had this like kind of baptism ceremony that they did. They'd put your ruck on the scale to weight it, and then they were like, "Get in." And you had to jump in the shitty pond they had out back. And then they throw your ruck to you, and then that would get wet. And so now you go from like a 50 pound ruck to a 60-pound ruck immediately. Right. And I'll just say this, we lost a lot of dudes that night, but between guys getting hurt and, just dudes quitting, thinking that they can't do this to us. But hey, this is special forces, baby. You don't know. You sign up to do hard shit, and this is part of the process. And I think probably my mindset that set me apart from a lot of guys is, in any of these courses I did, even when I went the spy route and, went to all the spy schools, is that you have guys and gals, right? They're like, "Oh, tell me, on day 3, what happened?" And they want to be prepared for everything. Now, just have the goddamn self-confidence that knowing that you're tough enough to be there and that you're tough enough to get through it without needing to know, right? Just be prepared for, if you're prepared for anything and you're always prepared, then you don't really need to be stressing about what's coming next because you're just going to take it as it comes. And that was like my mentality. I didn't stress about like, all right, on day 4 of this training iteration, what happened, you know? And there's people out there that need to do that. But I think war, to prepare your mind for combat, to prepare your mind to do espionage and all these other things, is that, and this is how I always was, just take it as it comes, man.
Mm-hmm.
And then just know that you have it within yourself to react to that. And that's what they want. That's what they're recruiting and selecting for, you know, because you're not going to be prepared for every scenario. You can sit there. Special Forces mission planning is very detailed, right? And we come up with several courses of action, and it's a team effort. You have the team leader, warrant, the team sergeant. You know, every guy on the team has a role in planning the operation or coming up with courses of action to do for the mission, right? And so, in 90% of the time, you know, just like Mike Tyson says, everyone has a plan until you get punched in the face. And there's no true word spoken for a Special Forces A team, but at least you have a couple contingencies built in there, you know? So it's always about having contingencies, but nothing ever goes according to plan or the way you plan it to a T, you know? And you have to have that flexibility. You have to have that mental flexibility, because being rigid is going to set you up for failure.